So you want to own a supermarket. Sounds like a pretty safe business, right? People need food every single day. Milk, bread, eggs, vegetables. They can't just stop buying them. And every time someone walks through those automatic doors, they're leaving with a cart full of products. Thousands of customers every single week. So, owning a supermarket must be like printing money, right? Well, not even close. In fact, supermarkets are one of the hardest businesses to make money in. Imagine selling $100 worth of groceries, and after paying for everything, suppliers, employees, electricity, refrigeration, rent, trucks, insurance, spoiled food, theft, taxes, you keep maybe $1, maybe $2. That's it. $1. If a clothing store sells you a $100 jacket, they might keep $20 or $30 in profit. A supermarket? They're lucky if they keep $2. Most U.S. grocery chains operate on net profit margins of roughly 1 to 3%, which means one bad month, one supplier issue, one refrigeration failure overnight, or just a little more food ending up in the trash than expected can wipe out an entire month's profit. And that's what makes supermarkets so fascinating. Because somehow, despite making almost nothing on each sale, they became some of the biggest companies on earth. Walmart sells hundreds of billions of dollars worth of products every year. Costco, Kroger, Albertsons, they're all giants. So if the profit isn't in the groceries, where is the money actually coming from? Actually, that's the wrong question. The real question is, how do they avoid losing money? Because the moment a product enters a supermarket, the clock starts ticking. Fresh vegetables begin losing shelf life. Milk has an expiration date. Frozen food has to stay frozen 24 hours a day. Every extra employee costs money every hour. Every empty shelf is a missed sale. Every item sitting too long is cash that's trapped on a shelf instead of back in the business. Supermarkets aren't just selling groceries, they're racing against time. Which brings us to something most shoppers never think about. Walk into a supermarket and you'll probably notice the colorful aisles, the music, maybe the bakery smell, all carefully designed to make shopping feel effortless. But behind those swinging doors marked employees only, it's a completely different world. Every single product is being tracked. Every barcode that's scanned at checkout isn't just recording a sale, it's feeding data. The system instantly knows exactly which product left the shelf, what time it sold, which store sold it, how quickly it's selling, and whether another box needs to be brought out from the back. In modern retail, a barcode isn't just a price tag, it's information. Millions and millions of tiny data points flowing into computers every single day. That sounds obvious now, but decades ago, this was revolutionary. Before computerized scanning, stores had to count inventory manually, estimate demand, and hope they ordered enough products without ordering too much. Too little, customers leave empty-handed. Too much, food expires, cash gets locked up, and profits disappear. In a business where your profit might only be 1 or 2 cents on every dollar, guessing is incredibly expensive. And solving that problem would completely change the economics of the modern supermarket. That single beep at the checkout. It might be the most valuable sound in retail, because the moment that barcode is scanned, the supermarket learns something. It knows one bottle of ketchup just left shelf number 12. It knows this particular store has one less unit in stock. It knows exactly what time it sold, which day of the week, and over millions of transactions, it begins spotting patterns no human ever could. Maybe ketchup always sells faster before football games. Maybe ice cream demand suddenly jumps because tomorrow's weather is unusually hot. Maybe one neighborhood buys twice as much organic milk as another just 10 miles away. Supermarkets don't just sell products anymore, they predict demand. But knowing what's sold is only half the story. The real challenge is replacing it. Imagine a popular supermarket selling, say, 50,000 different products. Every hour, thousands of those items are leaving the shelves. If employees wait until customers notice empty spaces, they've already lost sales. So instead of reacting, supermarkets try to stay one step ahead. As products disappear from the shelf, inventory systems trigger alerts in the back room. Employees restock before most shoppers even realize anything was missing. And when inventory drops below a certain level, the computer may automatically generate an order to the warehouse, sometimes without a manager touching a single button. The shelf, the warehouse, the supplier, they're all talking to each other through data. This is where scale becomes almost unfair. A small neighborhood grocery store might negotiate prices with a supplier once every few months. Walmart? They negotiate on behalf of thousands of stores at the same time. Millions of identical products. Think about that from a supplier's perspective. If Walmart says, "We'll buy 10 million bottles instead of 1 million, would you offer them a lower price? Almost certainly. A few cents may not sound like much, but multiply that by millions, sometimes hundreds of millions of products every year, and suddenly those pennies become hundreds of millions of dollars. In grocery retail, scale is a weapon. And that's exactly why supermarkets fight so hard to keep shelves full. An empty shelf doesn't just mean one customer leaves disappointed. It starts a chain reaction. The customer buys somewhere else. The supplier sells fewer units. The store loses repeat business. And fixed costs, rent, electricity, wages, don't magically shrink because one shelf sat empty. Those bills keep coming whether products are selling or not. That's why managers obsess over something called inventory turnover. Not because they enjoy spreadsheets, although some probably do, but because products sitting in storage are money doing absolutely nothing. A can of soup sitting in a warehouse isn't profit, it's cash trapped inside metal, which creates a strange paradox. Supermarkets want full shelves because customers hate seeing empty ones. But they also don't want shelves that are too full, because every extra product sitting there has already been paid for. It's money waiting instead of working. So the perfect supermarket isn't the one with the biggest warehouse. It's the one where products arrive almost exactly when they're needed, sell as quickly as possible, and leave before they have a chance to become a loss. And once you realize that, you start seeing a supermarket less like a giant store and more like an incredibly precise logistics machine disguised as a place to buy milk. But even if a supermarket gets all of this right, the forecasting, the logistics, the supplier negotiations, there's still one problem they can never completely eliminate. People are unpredictable. A heat wave can empty the bottled water aisle overnight. A snowstorm warning can wipe out bread, milk, and eggs within hours. A viral recipe on social media can suddenly make one ingredient impossible to keep in stock. The computer can make educated guesses, but it can't see the future. And when those guesses are wrong, somebody pays for it. That's why supermarkets spend so much effort trying to predict exactly how much they'll sell. Not too little, and definitely not too much. Which also explains something shoppers complain about all the time. Why is the milk all the way at the back? Or why did they move everything around again? It's usually not random. The products you buy most often are often placed deeper inside the store, encouraging you to walk past dozens of other items first. End-of-aisle displays are sold to brands because they're some of the most valuable real estate in the building. Products at eye level often pay more for that position than products near the floor. The supermarket isn't only making money from shoppers. Sometimes it's making money from the companies fighting for your attention. And suddenly, the supermarket starts looking very different. It's not just rows of shelves filled with food. It's thousands of tiny business decisions happening every single minute. Every barcode scanned, every shelf restocked, every truck arriving before dawn, every supplier negotiating over fractions of a cent, every employee rushing to replace an empty display before you even notice it. On the surface, it feels simple. Underneath, it's one of the most sophisticated logistics systems most people interact with every week. So, would you want to own a supermarket? At the beginning, it sounded almost guaranteed, but now we know the reality. Tiny margins, massive operating costs, constant inventory management, perishable products, fierce competition. It's a business where being slightly wrong every single day can quietly destroy your profits. And yet, despite all of that, some companies have built retail empires worth hundreds of billions of dollars because they became unbelievably good at moving products, predicting demand, negotiating at enormous scale, and squeezing waste out of a business where every penny matters. In the supermarket industry, success doesn't come from selling groceries. It comes from mastering the invisible system that keeps those groceries moving. The next time you hear that tiny beep at the checkout, remember, you didn't just buy a carton of milk. You became one more data point inside one of the most efficient supply chains ever built.